All right, welcome back to our Monday Bitcoin update. And yes, this shirt is that cool. Bitcoin on the bigger picture on the daily chart since our all-time high set back in November. Downtrend, we had our, longwards bearish channel, bearish flag, whatever you want to call it. We broke down out of it, confirmed here, and here we are. So now what do we have to show for it? Well, we talked about this in our last video, a potential broadening bottom pattern. And right now, could we confirm it? Well, if we close out above it, then yeah. And what would that mean? We would just have a more of an ability to have a more sustained rally. Um, and at this point, everything would be more, it should be looked at as a relief rally until we get above this kind of a big zone that we broke through around 37.5. It's kind of the area. So a close below or above 38K would, could we need to reevaluate, and where could another potential, move higher be? But until that happens, that's going to be our big line in the sand, and I would expect a big fight there. If we even get that high, where could we, potentially turn around before that if we don't get that high? Well, obviously we have, this kind of resistance, but this is a light resistance line because one, you only have two touch points, right? Really two major touch areas right here, right? You have several on the bottom, so this is a little bit more concrete of a line. But with, two touch points, you've basically just done the bare minimum to establish a trend line. So until we have a third touch point, which we're coming in hot now, it's around just north of 32K. So we'll see if we get that today, maybe. And then we can look at maybe potentially jumping up to the 50 EMA right here around 33K. That will also act as, pretty heavy resistance. You have your 21-day EMA, which we've broken through. We have our 8-day EMA in the red, which we've broken through. So we'll see if we get to close above that, right? Obviously, we don't want another one of these. So we really need to have two candles, again, close above our moving averages. But there's a huge gap here. See this 21-day to the 50-day? I wonder if there's any kind of moving averages that would be, useful between those two. I'm glad you asked. That would be the 34 EMA. I know a lot of traders use that. It can be useful, when you're kind of just floating around in this space between the 21 and the 50. As you can see right now, we've kind of tagged right on it. Let me zoom in here. Right, so we've actually tagged right to it. At the same time, you're at the top of the Bollinger Band, so we're kind of hesitating here for the time being. So we'd obviously like to hold, close this at or higher would be great, right? So we have a couple big little levels here, right? So looking at the 50, we're looking at the top of this kind of channel, and then also your top of your Bollinger Bands on the daily and your EMA 34. So those are three big steps we need to watch for before our next video update on Thursday for Bitcoin. So that's where I'm looking at. You're also in the top level of the Bollinger Bands. So that's more bullish than bearish, at least for the short term, right? Only been up here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're in our 8th day in the top half of the Bollinger Band. See the median line in the purple, right? So that's a good sign, at least for the short term. So if we want to continue higher, we need to see those Bollinger Bands still open up, the mouth open, and price needs to continue closing above the top half and above certain said moving averages. Okay, so remember those key things, right? Those moving averages, and then, just a relief rally until a close above 38K, which is unlikely, in my opinion, at this point. We need to keep our focus on the big picture. So the daily is a good place to start. Then you can zoom out to the weekly, right? And then it all looks even more calm or chaotic, depending on your choice there. So on the bigger picture, where is our likely relief rally going to face resistance on the weekly? So the EMA 8 on the weekly, 33K, right? 33.1, which is also coincidentally that same moving averages of the 50-day, right? 33.1. So that, two moving averages on the different scales is going to present more of a harsher roadblock. If we somehow manage to push and close above that, well, the odds would simply increase of us going to test the next moving average. And that coincidentally seems to be the 100-week EMA in the blue at 36K. And then you have your still pretty harsh roadblock at 37.5 roughly area. See your candle close there, candle close there, right? So weekly candle closes 37 until we can close above 38K on the weekly, which also is going to be an even harsher roadblock than shown on the daily, because you have your EMA 21, which usually divides bulls and bears in a bigger way in the bull markets and bear markets. And then also your median Bollinger Bands, right? All of that happening kind of right at the same time. And let's say it happens in a couple weeks, right? We get up in here, you'll have your 100-week, your median Bollinger Band on the weekly, your 21-week EMA, all at the same level, around that 37K-ish area, 36, 37K. So if we get a rally up to there and you've been trapped, you bought in here, you bought down here, whatever, that would be a great place to unload a bit, right? And then if we get more bullish, then great, you could just buy back in and you're going to make some more money to the upside, because if we close above that, that's a huge roadblock, and then we can, reestablish, move upside. But the odds are that somewhere between where we are now and 38K, we'll get rejected and we'll go back down and we'll try to form a, either this bottom, maybe this low is in, or we're going to retest and go lower, right? Or at least test somewhere around the 28K again, right? 28, 29, right? We're trying to hold this. If we close a weekly candle under this close right here, 29.4, if we close a weekly candle under 29.4, the odds would dramatically go up that we are going to not only retest this low, but probably make a new lower low. So use that information what you will. So let's look at one more indicator that we talked about in our last video, the ADX and the I. On the daily, check this out. We're potentially getting a cross, bullish cross to the upside, right? On the daily. What does that mean? This would likely mean if we close today where we are or higher, this would actually confirm, and we have the potential for us to have a more of a sustained relief rally. But we have to be watching out, because if we say we come back down and we close the day at like 30,500, something like that, this would look very similar to this area, right? Where it looks like it's fighting, it's going to cross, but then it doesn't quite, right? This can change throughout the day. If we close lower than where we are now, this will not look like a cross, even though it does right now, right? So, and then also we need to also watch out for things like this, right? How it cross and then immediately cross back, like basically a day later, right? It cross and then doesn't look so good, right? You want to have a bullish cross and then separation as fast as possible, followed by the ADX, the average directional index, in the orange, going towards whatever's on top, right? If you want the bulls to win, you want a bullish cross with the green, and then you want your ADX to follow suit, right? So this area from March 16th to March 28th, right? Let's go look at Bitcoin, right? We were doing okay on the week. Let's go look at the daily, right? That's the daily. Let's go look at the daily. March 16th to the 28th, right? Let's go way back, right? March 16th to the 28th, right here, right? We had the bullish cross on the ADX and the I, and then we got, there's the 28th right there. 12 days later, we got over 20, almost 22% price increase, right? That is what the power of the ADX and the I can let you see before a lot of the rest of the market. But you have to get the separation. It's not enough to just have a cross, because you can come right back. You have to get a cross, and then you want separation, right? Cross and separation. And you don't want them to cross right back, okay? Follow with the ADX, and then you can get more of a relief rally. So that's your little tip of the day video. All right. Got anything else? Quote of the day. Hope is the only bee that makes honey without flowers. I'll take it. Car of the day. The brand new 2023 Escalade V. What does the V mean? It's their tuned version. If you know anything about Cadillacs, they have a V series, which is like, Mercedes AMG, BMW's M, right? Audi S line, right? Or RS line. So this, with this Escalade, you get the blacked out, right? And the black wheels, the bigger black wheels, the bigger brakes. You see the big brakes, and you get, super tuned interior's all shined up. But most importantly, almost a 700 horsepower 6.2 liter V8 inside this guy. 700 horsepower SUV is pretty A-okay with me. So there you go. Bear market, no hypercar, but still very nice cars. What do you think? I'd ride one, but they're 150K for a Cadillac. I don't know. Now we're pushing the envelope here. 150K. You can buy a lot of stuff for 150K. You can buy some used supercars for that price. I don't know. What do you think? Used supercar or new V Escalade? Obviously, you can do a lot more with this. Take the whole fam. You could tow a supercar with this. Maybe we'll do that. Maybe in Hot Wheels version. Until the new bull market, it's Hot Wheels only. Maybe some Legos. I'll see you on the next one. Leave me a comment what you wanted to see more of or less of. Like these shirts.